Welcome to the People's Guild.
Each week we explore the Splinterland universe with guests from all across the mythical land of Praetoria.
Join us on our journey as we discuss the evolution of the game, the strategy, the lore, and the exciting path that lies ahead.
To support the People's Guild, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and also check us out on PeakD, YouTube, and Twitter.
To send your questions, suggestions, and epic battles in our comments through Twitter or email at thepeoplesguildspl@gmail.com. We'll feature the best in our episodes and maybe airdrop you some prizes. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the People's Guild. Another week, another episode, another great guest. As I mentioned last week, he is a first-time guest. I was trying to do some quick recon the last time we hosted a first-time guest, and I gave up. It has been that long, so long overdue. Fresh off of Mordor, we got the one and only Keeegs looking like he's every bit of an extra from Lord of the Rings. Welcome, Keeegs. Wonderful to host you, man.
Gandalf stunt double.
Yeah, dude.
Gandalf stunt double.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good to be here. Long time listener, first time chatter.
Dude, we've been trying, just for context, we've been trying to tee this up for, you reached out beginning of the year, at which point we were still taking kind of hiatus from running the show. And the stars have finally aligned. So, and that's not in reference to your Starlink network connection. But yeah, here we are, second half of the year, and yeah, absolute pleasure to host you, man. Welcome.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been quite good having a bit of delay. It meant I've been able to get my thoughts together a bit more, and we had a lot of interesting DAO stuff kind of happen, especially lately too. So it kind of feels quite topical.
And we've been seeing you in the TP Team Possible Sunday chat every once in a while. You've been coming in pretty consistently, so that's been
I missed
on the weeks where it's the timing works. Yeah.
I've got a ladder set up for the early ones now for me. I just missed this week because I was off playing some Flesh and Blood. But yeah, no, I've really enjoyed those chats. I've got it in my calendar. I'm aiming to make them every week. It's just a great group, good chat. Yeah. And just I love the bouncing ideas around. It's a lot of fun. And even recently we were on a chat just in like the Splinterlands voice chat. It's just checking out. I saw some people in there. Like, oh yeah, let's jump in and have a chat, see what people are having to talk about. And we ended up
well, for those of you who can't see the other listeners, Keeegs has one of the most badass beards I've ever seen. Actually, could you stand? How long is that? We're talking like that's pretty close to Gandalf length beard right there.
Yeah, it's definitely not the longest it's been. It got pretty straggly at the bottom, so it had a few trims recently. But yeah, it's I haven't been clean shaven for probably 10 years now.
Nice.
There's been some odd trims, but yeah, I wouldn't know what I look like under there anymore.
And I mean, I could see you have a badass mustache on top of it. You could see the difference. Like a lot of, mustaches just blend into a beard. You've got a mustache on top of a beard. It's very obvious where it, hangs, where it goes. And even by itself, that would be awesome too. Just so you know.
I let it grow long just so that it's easier to twist out of the way when it's burger time.
Nice. Burger Time. That was a great video game. Do you guys remember that? Burger Time in the 80s?
Never heard of Burger Time.
Oh my God.
Before my time. Yeah.
That was a great arcade game. You had to run around making burgers. It was like a Donkey Kong spinoff, and you had like buns and lettuce, and you had to run over it and drop it and make these burgers, and you had like little ketchups and mustard packets chasing you around and shit. It was it was awesome enough that they made like Atari 2600 knockoffs of it. I think there was a Nintendo version too, but
yeah, 1982, Jimmy. That's before my time by a couple of years. I
was putting quarters into the machine and playing that thing in the arcade there, Jackson.
Players control chef Peter Pepper, who must construct burgers by dropping giant ingredients onto plates.
And you could
Epic.
crush the mustard. You could crush the guys chasing you if you dropped a patty on them. It was pretty fun stuff.
So Keegs, you mentioned playing Flesh and Blood. I assume that's not some Kiwi speak for hunting and trapping game out in the bushlands.
Well, that is one thing I do from time to time, but no, it's a great trading card game that my mates developed. They were, long-time players, been in the industry for years and years. Used to help run events with them and judge with them. And yeah, James decided he wanted to make his own game, and it's just a really good physical trading card game. You've got it's hero versus hero, and like the gameplay, there's no mana screw, or like very rare is there mana screw, and it's just a very fast-paced live action kind of game. Yeah, and I managed to sneak myself into the top 8, which is great to finally get there. Gonna use that PTI to go over to Japan next year for the Pro Tour, which will be a lot of fun.
Ooh, hook up with Cryptomancer. Have Cryptomancer give you a little ship around there.
Well, from there, I'm probably going to do a bit more traveling, maybe back to Europe, maybe find some more Flesh and Blood events, and try get to some other festivals that I used to help out at. And yeah, like hopefully maybe there could be some like mini Splinterfest happening, and I can try line up some of those as well. I'd love to, see things like that happen.
If you're traveling around the world playing Flesh and Blood, or that's an option, how many players? I mean, this game isn't that old. How many players are playing this, and how quickly did this thing blow up?
I wouldn't know how many people are playing, but like we had national season a couple months ago, and there was, I think it was like 49 nationals around the world. And, most of those you have to qualify for, and, that's at least 100 people. And there'll be like, US Nationals, for example, was like 512 players or something is the cap. It's a massive event there. But yeah, there's a lot of stores. They do a lot of boasting about like the, how many game stores or, how many armories and stuff like that are happening each week. I think there's going to be like 1,600 skirmishes around the world, which is like a little kind of local event. I think there's like 2 or 3 series a year.
Love that. I love the name Skirmish.
Yep.
Skirmish.
So, it's like a bar fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at an article that's published 2 years ago. So celebrating 4 years of Flesh and Blood, and it's claiming 50K players.
Yeah, there you go. And there's only going to be more. Like it's only growing. Like the last 4 or 5 sets of the last couple of years have been just really, really good. Super accessible for new players. They've brought out things like the Armory deck, which is like basically like, you spend in US dollars, maybe like $40, $50, and you've got like something that you can go out and you can go play, and you can be like, semi-competitive. You might not go win like a calling, but you can at least go play your Armory and learn and, figure out what you want to add and change to it. Yeah, they've made it really accessible. They're doing a lot of conventions as well. They're just, I think it was like Comic-Con. They had a big booth with, Weta Workshop, the guys that do a lot of the stuff for Lord of the Rings and work with Peter Jackson. They basically made this big, I think it's like 8-foot tall statue of one of the heroes. And yeah, they had that at the booth there. They had a joint up booth, which is, really cool to see.
Sick. Yeah, I think what a workshop is based in Wellington, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I think while I was there, they were actually under fire for a bunch of unsavory workplace behavior.
I mean, that's the film industry, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess it's true. Yeah.
It's a pretty rough industry.
Yeah. But yeah, I had not ever connected the dots until I was in New Zealand and Weta was all over the news,
Mm-hmm.
and especially being in Wellington. But man, I love that Flesh and Blood. It's a new entry into the trading card game world. It's 2019, late 2019 born, early 2020, and you mentioned off air that it's aside from being a really cool name, it signifies kind of their calling of, we want players to meet up, and one of their big, I guess, platforms of pushing the game and getting the game in front of folks is these skirmishes, these in-person tournaments and all that sort of stuff. And that's it's such a fresh way to, all that stuff has always existed with like Magic the Gathering and Pokemon and all the rest, but for that to be like the bread and butter, I feel like is such a fresh perspective
Mm-hmm.
on the whole trading card game thing.
Well, that's the thing. Like these guys, they grew up in the industry. You often hear James talking about like, here's a teenager piling in a car, driving us somewhere, go play games for the weekend. Like they're all lifelong friends. A lot of the guys that I was playing with or hang out with this weekend, I've been playing games with them for 20, 25 years. And it's just so much fun. We had so many amazing weekends with, cars absolutely packed, no room, stop at the cheapest bottle shop and load that up. And we'd be, all weekend. It's just, and like, I guess the way I frame it now is it's a weekend away with the mates. Anything else is a bonus. We're playing great games that we love, cool locations. One of the things that they're really trying to push at the moment is play the game, see the world. So they're doing like a lot of cool destination events for like the kind of bigger calling level events.
Like
where
where?
as well.
Like where? I like that concept, by the way.
They were in Singapore recently, and they were like at some like beach resort, and there's like a beach party there. They're in Taiwan recently, but there's like pretty much every weekend, there's a calling level kind of event. Worlds is in Philly in a couple of weeks.
Philadelphia?
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
in
man.
Philly, as opposed to Philly, Ukraine or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
All right.
Philadelphia, the States.
US. All right.
Yeah. Which is like pros and cons. I saw recently I think like half a dozen of the Brazilian players had their visas denied.
Oh yeah, that's a real thing now. That's
yeah.
traveling to the US is becoming unrealistic.
Yeah, I'm definitely not rushing there. I guess I've been lucky. I've done a fair share of my time in the States, and I used to do summer camps in upstate New York, and then I've done a couple of motorcycle trips.
What
Like
summer
one time at the
camps,
camp
dude?
at-
I'm from upstate New York. Where were these summer camps?
Near Burlingame, New York.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, 12722. Yeah, man, I loved it. And so I got 1 year, I got a bike there, and I kind of on my days off, I'd go right around the local area. I went down to Philly for one of the walk tours. But yeah, I've done a couple of cross country trips over there. But yeah, definitely not rushing back. 1 year I did Gen Con on one of my bike trips. A couple of my mates were over there. They were like trying to re-release a game that I really loved, but they didn't really do it justice. But it was good to play the release weekend and the big events there. I love these big conventions. Like this calling for Flesh and Blood this weekend was at the Auckland Card Show. It's like normally it's like just like a big Flesh and Blood hall, but there was like I think 7 or 8 different games holding big tournaments, and there's a bunch of vendors selling all sorts of Pokemon, Magic, whatever cards.
And we should be there.
So like they're big.
Yeah,
we should be there. Yeah,
yeah.
We should totally.
I mean,
be there.
you saying that Worlds is in Philly, like
That'll
right
just
there.
be Flesh and Blood though. That'll be very hard to do anything Splinterlands.
Well, I mean, it's worth it to just go check it out because I mean, the parallels. We're still at TCG, right? Like that at our core, at our fundamentals. We're very much a parallel of what's going on there. I just purely call it market research. Go check it out and see what is a new TCG doing. Matt's roots are in Magic the Gathering. Your buddy James, his roots are in Magic the Gathering. I mean, there's got to
Hand
be
out
some.
a couple spell book cards while you're there. Hey, here's a Greek spell book.
Well, even just like those smaller level ones, like I could see us doing like those kind of level events as like little Splinterfest. Like like we could do Splinterfest New Zealand, we could do Splinterfest New York, California, London. It's like how could the DAO or the team kind of work together to kind of provide these little kits? Because I didn't make Splinterfest. I don't know if either of you two did, but from what I heard, it was a great time. Yeah, and like they had the tournament right, like it was a
Oh, the tournament was amazing.
A bit of a side.
The tournament was freaking amazing, man. I'm so it showed me like it was so exciting, and the TCG, like the esports thing is It's just sitting there waiting. It's like low hanging fruit. It's like,
Hmm.
here it is. You have a digital version of this stuff. Everyone in the world could participate. Come on,
Yep.
let's
Super
do it.
easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we could have a chat about that. It's definitely like, one of these proposals and ideas that I'd love to chat about is the tournaments. Like there's the in-person ones, Splinterfest, cool, that'd be great. But even just the digital stuff, like we should be doing like a tournament series. And I think it should be ghost cards. So it's like really actually competitive. It's a level playing field. And let's, who is the best player? That's what they kind of tried to crown at Splinterfest. But, we should be doing this. There should be a couple each week, smaller ones and leading up to maybe like one big one each month or one big one each season. And, like a couple times a year, have a big, like, okay, this is the champion. And like, I feel we can do that rather easily. There's a lot of things that are such low lift that we can give out, like we could give out titles, they're either as a landholder, they're great. Or if not, you can sell them for a reasonable price at the moment. Those titles shot up.
Yeah, they
Um,
fetch a pretty penny. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's probably a bit out of my how much I would be spending on them at the moment, but yeah, they're moving slowly, but they're moving. But like just stuff like that, it's like what's it going to take the team to create a series of three different titles that we can give out in these tournaments?
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I wonder what I don't know how reasonable it is to always like build conventions and these sort of events around a venue that hosts, a whole slew of computers. Maybe it's easier for the
mhm.
DAO to like, acquire 200 iPads, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden, you can rock up to a cafe and hand out iPads and get the tournament. Everybody's playing from the couch or the recliner or whatever. Um, yeah, I feel like there's definitely some opportunity there to bridge the world of what do traditional TCG tournaments look like and feel like with what we're doing. Yeah, so man, I would love to see some kind of I mean you're I think more so than just about anybody else in I know Azarkon is really big in collecting Pokemon cards, but I think he's
Hmm.
purely from the collector's perspective, whereas you are still very much ingrained in the actual gameplay. A lot of the Magic the Gathering guys have kind of seen their time pass them by at this point in time. They've sold Magic cards
Hmm.
for Splinterlands assets. So you keeping your ear to the ground on the in-person events and kind of offering some opinion and suggestion in terms of like how do we bridge that gap between what we're doing and what a very successful business, obviously successful like Flesh and Blood, how are they accomplishing the level of success and acquisition? I mean that's
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of those events. It's like yes, the tournament is a big thing, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on around as well. There's side events firing all day, every day. We were there for 3 days, and there's probably 30 side events. And like at those side events, you win tickets, which you can take to the prize wall, which is get your alt art of this card, or get your play mat. So that'll be like if once we start getting cosmetics and that kind of stuff, that just there's so many more opportunities that you can add, like incentives without putting pressure on, like making people concerned that we're giving out too much, or devaluing people's assets. There's so much attached to that. I feel in our community is like, we don't want to do things that make our assets go, some particular assets go down, even though it may make others go up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we're kind of in a position where we're back to square one and trying to
Mm,
not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but definitely
But
renovate the
reinvent the
wheel.
wheel.
Yeah.
No,
I
it's
mean,
like what I'm
we're
doing with
Reassess.
replacing
amps.
spokes. Yes.
It's like what I do with
Yeah.
amps. I want to make a better wheel. We got to make a better
Hmm.
freaking wheel, and stop putting sticks in the spokes. Let the wheel turn. Yeah, as part of it.
Mm, mm.
Oh, I forgot to
Yes.
mention before it gets too late in the episode. I accidentally ate like a really big mushroom chocolate right before we started. So if I start getting a little weird on you, that's what's going down, Jimmy.
I love it, Jimmy. Man,
Pulled the wrong
you're
thing out of the
the
freezer.
Fat Jimmy, the freaking wild card, baby. I love it. Wild
Yeah.
card. Nice. Pulled the wrong thing out of the freezer.
I
I
mean, we've all
realized
made that
later.
mistake, right?
Everyone's made that mistake, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember always at the party houses, you grab out what looks like a bottle of water and you go for a big swig and it's just full of alcohol. And oh, okay. I guess this is us for the next little while.
It's gonna be
Oops.
one of those days, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Just
man.
the
Oh yeah.
surprise.
And then if you want a tangent on that, there's the old Phil Lesh story at the Fillmore where he took a sip out of something that was going around and said you could taste the LSD that was
Oh
in there.
boy.
He said, that's when I knew I was in trouble. The next thing he remembers was someone handing him his bass. And he's like, what's this? And they're like, that's your bass. And he's like, I don't know what to do with it. They're like, yes, you'll be fine. And they like kind of get him out on stage. And it was a
That's
great
when
show.
muscle memory just takes over.
I think it's a little more than that. But
Yeah.
Probably one of
anyway,
his best shows he's ever done.
it might have been. But yeah, no, tournaments. Love the idea. Love the ghost card tournament thing. I would love to see a lot more of that. I mean, I remember, not too long ago, Weird Beard was the big advocate of that. And then when he was let go, it kind of,
Eat it out.
everything kind of pulled back for a while. So it is time to start saying, what's the low hanging fruit? What's going to give us the biggest return on investment for where we put our energy? I think that's a question we really have to start asking at this point. Tournaments are probably a part of that. Recently on a call, someone was saying that's not the case because not many people do tournaments. And I'm like, well, I think that means it's time to revisit tournaments and make it so people do it. Don't just blow it off because there's not a lot of participation right now.
Well, I think that's more a symptom of the sad state of tournaments than anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's so Flesh and Blood, we have like tiers of event. There's like these weekly armories. They're like very low stakes, your local, go hang out with all your mates. Then there's like the kind of skirmishes and road to nationals, ProQuest qualifier. They're a bit more semi-local, but you still get some people traveling for it. And then it's got, like the nationals, the battle hardens, the callings, and then above that is the world tour and the world championship and the pro tour. And like I see the kind of tournaments that we've got now, or the setup that we've got, that's your like little weekly ones. They're not super high stakes. There's not much coverage on them, but whatever. But start going to some of these like more prestigious events. That's when I feel that we could be getting, like what kind of incentives can we put in place for people to get people to create content? Go through and do some commentary on some matches, or some people to be there live to, or like, well, it depends if we do them live or not. But there's different ways to do it. But yeah,
I would love
like how
live
can
live commentary on some of that. That'd be fantastic, man. I would love.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like how we do it at Flesh and Blood. Like when we play the sit and go events, it's very similar, except you don't get knocked out. So normally you play like, the one on the weekend was 11 rounds, and then if you're the top 8 people from that, then had a playoff. But that stuff you can do live easy, and it's a lot of fun. So they kind of turned it on the content creators, right? There's a bunch of content creators that are allowed to host these. I often try and make sure I get in the one with Locus and Aftersound. And it's not really because the prizes, though. That one on there, more just to hang out, have a chat. If you ask those guys, they probably spend more time chatting than they actually do playing. I think we like those kind of things are good, but we just need more. And it'd be great if the DAO or the company can put something together to kind of like up those stakes a bit, Like one of the things that's thinking, we could sell the previous sets, so it might be like a 10,000 DC entry, but, everybody gets a Rebellion pack. I know it's going to be a contentious issue, but, that's kind of, I imagine that was kind of what the company saw happening when they set up the distribution to the DAO. They basically, they're not there to sit on like a dragon. They're there to use, to do stuff. They used to give away packs and stuff with the sales. I'm kind of glad we've gone away from that. But it's like, how else can we, use them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So something that I would be keen to dive into, and Jimmy, you're going to be the guy with the answers on this one. What was our, so I got here February 2022. Keegs, I think you and I came in pretty similar time frame. Is that right?
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit later. I think middle of the year for me, 22.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think if I've ever heard any stories of, what was Splinterland's engagement with real world stuff during like the alpha beta untamed days, if any at all. Like, Blew It. I remember him, we hosted him sometime last year, and he's got the big Splinterlands, Chaos Legion artwork with, QR codes and all the rest hanging in the window of his brick and mortar shop. And I know he's in the past, maybe visited a couple of conventions on behalf of Splinterlands, or, somewhat indirectly representing the company and the product. But I don't know if I've ever heard of us, really kind of buckling down and making the effort to have a presence at these, card game conventions and the like. So Jimmy, do you know, like, did we ever make concerted efforts to be present and put the product in front of folks?
Not that I'm aware of, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. I know for physical stuff, I know we had that lore book that came out at one point. I think it was if you pre-bought it, I think Untamed.
That's definitely what it was. Hep. We were told about that. I think Joey told us about it, and like within 3 hours after getting the episode wrapped up, Hep sent me a screenshot. He bought one of the books on eBay.
Oh, I've been keeping my eye open for that, man. God damn it.
Yeah.
Bastard.
I think I might have a lead on one.
Oh, have you seen this? Heard about this? I want to see the lore book. Thank you very much.
But I think now is also a prime time to engage in those kind of events, right? We've got Foundation mode or Frontier mode. It's like, hey, sign up. Maybe there's a special convention promo, like if you sign up here, we give you a couple extra starter packs. Like how can we get people in and playing that Foundation mode? And I think, I'm very excited about the future of Splinterlands. Me and Jangles have talked about this a little bit, but like I feel we're in a new era for Splinterlands. And I think like Frontier mode is so good for getting people into it. Like I was talking a guildmate. A guildmate was saying yesterday he created a new account just to show his friends what it's like to start from scratch. And trying to get them into it. So it'll be interesting, especially now that they've started. Like I think this week, the raffles start for playing.
Yeah, so black foils.
Mode. And
I
got to start playing more. I got to force myself to play. It's hard at the beginning, man. We definitely have to make it easier for the people starting, because like I'm playing, it's just like it's brutal. You got like a 30-mana match, and you can put like 3 cards up because every card is like freaking 9 mana.
So
and you're just like 3 health, speed. You're like, all right, here we go. It's just hard.
Maybe we just need to change the settings around like what the battles are available there. Like maybe we shouldn't see low mana battles. It should be like all 40 plus or something.
Right, or give them some bots that easier for them to win and stuff. I'm just saying, it's frustrating for me, and I'll play like a handful of battles and then give up. Because I'm like,
Well, some of that stuff, I was thinking about this after we were discussing it last week with Tails, and some of that stuff, I think some of our frustrations definitely stem from, like, well, Jimmy, you're a longtime champ player, so you're used to all the bells and whistles, right? So,
like that's only goes so far. That only goes so far.
But I think that context is important, though, right? So, like when you're
definitely.
You're coming as a brand new player, the brand new game, you don't know that on the other side, in 30 mana, you can field a million abilities and a really
you have
strong
2 mana cards to fill some holes and stuff. I think we need some of that to make it more interesting. Again, I'm playing.
I don't disagree.
Matches, just because you want to hook people, and honestly, I think we're like 90% there. Like I think launching this was a huge milestone. I think we're going to see a huge ROI, for lack of better word. The time investment in getting this out there will pay off huge dividends. I'm positive of that. But we have to make it a little more first day friendly for those guys getting in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a little rough, and again, it's I know the cards were designed to be bad, and I agree with making them worse and letting people play in modern and saying, oh, I need better cards if I want to jump into modern. It's a great idea, but I think it's just the scales are tilted a little too far in the bad card, high mana direction, which makes it just challenging until you start getting those epics and getting some of the legendaries. Which actually have a lot more power. All of a sudden, I saw one the other day. I'm like, oh, a 7 health card. That's what we're talking about. Let's get that guy out there
for 15 mana.
Yeah. Nah, I think it was 9.
No, it's not that bad.
But, just tweaking the thing. To answer the question you mentioned a little bit ago about real world stuff, I think Jeff Opens Cards has said this many times, and it's a very valid point that there's still this stigma about crypto being a scam and being shunned. Like he's afraid to put it in his shop still because people are like, crypto scam.
Well, don't you think that
what if it's just advertising?
Frontier mode is the bridge there. Like you don't ever have to know that Splinterlands is crypto, right? Like you could just play you could just play Frontier mode. Like you just have cards. You never think about them. They're not advertised as NFTs. I feel like they're
very, very true, man. Very good point. And we just have that now. It's only like a season old, but I'm talking about in the past.
Yes.
I don't think we got much of it because there was that whole crypto's a scam.
I think Frontier opens up so many possibilities for us. But like to be fair, I remember when I first started, it was rough too. Then trying to figure out. Like, granted, like there was league caps and stuff, so you were playing cards closer to what you had. But like back then, like I remember watching a lot of gameplay videos to try to figure out what the hell is going on and like what card do I need to try get that to help beat this team. But we don't really have much content anymore about kind of gameplay stuff. And like not many people streaming, right? You used to be able to pretty much go and watch, especially Splinterlands TV or its prime, right? It was 24/7. Go see a lot of gameplay, see what's going on. Maybe there's a chance for somebody to go and make some Frontier like guides, like, hey, if you're getting stuck, maybe go buy this one card and that'll help you here. Or
holy crap! I was looking at prices of Frontier mode last night. God damn! Like we're talking epics are $1.49.
Dude, packs are going for $4. There's legendaries that are going for like well into double-digit figures, man. It's crazy.
That's insane. That's amazing.
I mean, that's such a huge win for Frontier mode, right? Like people are willing to shell out for these cards that have absolutely zero utility outside of like fun gameplay. Like, I mean, sure you can play them to a certain degree in ranked, but they're not going to get you very far.
And that's probably value coming into the ecosystem to buy those cards. I would guess that at least a good portion of that is not just people getting rid of SPS to buy them, but people actually bringing outside money in to buy these cards.
I know some people have like sold off their foils and use that to buy others. The good old flipping around.
The flippening.
Strippening, as Dave likes to call it. All those strippers.
Keeping things fresh, keeping new ideas going, man. I was reading all of the, I guess, mock proposals that you had, Keeegs, that you shared with us before here, and there's a lot of really great ideas on there.
I would just, well, I think
just really, like you said, the discussion. We haven't had discussions about a lot of these things lately, and it's time to start talking about it again.
It's just kind of become like a quite little side thing, right? There hasn't been many proposals. Most of the time, there's not much to them. I'm not actively following or reading many of them at the moment, unfortunately. But yeah, I think so I guess for me, so I, in 2019, I was traveling around Europe and I ended up helping out at a lot of regional burns, which are basically Burning Man, and people are going, hey, this is great, let's do this all around the world. And one that like really stood out to me was the Scandinavians. It's a burn called Borderlands, and they had this process called, so they're designed to be like very decentralized, kind of like what we are, kind of decentralized community. And like the burns are basically prototyping community. That's kind of how they started. Not so much the big burn now, but the smaller ones still have a bit of that flavor. But yeah, they had this process.
You're talking the ones from like 400 BC or more of a modern thing?
Bit more of a modern thing.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Yeah, thinking about it, they've probably been doing it for a good while.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like I think it's like in the 70s. That's kind of like when I think his name was Larry. That's when he kind of like put a bit of structure around. They've got the principles and that kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, it grew wildly over there. But a lot of the other ones are a bit more grassroots still. But yeah, so they have this. It's often set up as a duocracy. So if you want to see something happen, you got to make it happen. Like you can't just say, "Hey, we should do this. Hey, team, go do this." Like I think especially with a lot of the stuff around the DAO, like we should be like, "Hey, we want this. Okay, cool. How are we going to make this happen? Who's going to put their hand up to take responsibility for certain things?" And that's exactly how these guys do it. And the process is basically just to make sure that like you're not just going to go on your own tangent, make decisions, do things, and then all of a sudden show up and like you've upset all these people. You're meant to talk to the people that are going to be affected by it, the people that have done it in the past, people that know experts in the area, with the whole idea that if you go through this process, coming out the other end, you should be probably one of the most knowledgeable and qualified in the community to make this decision. So, like then the onus is on them. They'll kind of do a big post about what's going on and how it's going to happen. And they kind of publish it. And then that's kind of going to happen unless there's like a conflict or something kind of raised out of it, and then they'll kind of revise it. I don't think we should go to that degree. We've got the proposal system that we have in place for a reason, and especially with like big financial stuff in place. We had a little bit of that. So when the 2021 couldn't happen, they had the option to either get a refund for your ticket or to leave your funds in. If you left your funds in, that would create a fund to go towards buying some land. And so over a series of meetings and kind of running up multiple different advice processes, we got to the stage where the community was able to buy our own land in Switzerland. I think the community owned like 100 hectares or something out in the bush out there. And they did that with kind of using this system as a foundation for that. Which is wild and epic. It's so nice as a festival to have a forever home. They've got buildings on there that they can develop and grow. And so I just love how this flowed. It was seeing it in action was great. There's usually a lot of information. They really require you to I guess there's stages, right? I'll talk through the stages. So the first one is identify a problem or opportunity. So for us, I don't know, let's pick a little one that I quite like. What are we going to do? I guess it's less topical now, but it was like the conflict points and all the black foils. So it's like, okay, cool. So the problem or opportunity. At the moment, the problem is that as a regular foil player, you don't get many airdrops. There's reasons why we ended up with a big discrepancy. So that's the kind of problem. And then, talk to the subject matter expert. So talk to people like Dave, talk to the coding team, talk to designers, talk to those affected by the decision. So like the players, talk to the people that went heavy on black foils, talk to the people that went heavy on selling their black foils and gold foils, you want to gather as much information as you can to try and shape this. You can do some different iterations of, or like suggestions, like, hey, based on all this information, these are a couple of different options that we could to go down with. And especially if we're more public with it, they're like, let's try to get feedback early and often, so often nowadays, the first time I see a proposal is when it's in the pre-proposal stage. good luck trying to get anything changed or have any really discussion. That's kind of like, this is kind of what it's going to be. There might be some slight additions, and then it's like, okay, is it go or no?
Keeegs,
And I
can
think,
we? Sorry, just to quickly interject, can we go bullet by bullet here and kind of address, like how, like what is the fundamental difference and where is the gap between the current and the ideal? So I think we don't have a problem as a community of identifying a problem. We can all, I kind of feel like if you scroll through Tavern, people are throwing all sorts of darts at all sorts of different, quote unquote perceived problems. So let's focus on.
That brings up a good point. That brings up a really good point. I think there needs to be a little more focus on discovering and preventing problems before they happen, because there was and that needs to be done on upper tier, because there's been as soon as people saw the numbers, you had community members saying, oh shit, this is skewed, this whole black foil thing, it's going to screw the hell out of the regular foil guys. Had it been maybe more openly shared earlier, that could have been prevented, and there's been many cases where this is the case. Soulbound reward cards, for example, summoners. In the
Hall of Legends was a sticky one.
Hall of Legends, right? There's so many things where it's like, as soon as it's announced, people say, "Hey, here's a problem." Where if it's talked about beforehand, maybe these problems can be alleviated before they even become problems.
Yeah, well, I guess for me, one of the big things is like a lot of these steps actually already happen, but it's just not as publicly available or accessible. There's a lot of these discussions happening behind closed doors, and like a lot of that information or the kind of discussion points doesn't then make it into the final proposal. Like, I think having a lot more kind of background and clarity, and like, we made this decision because of these factors, not like this is a decision we've made. Tough.
Right. That would be great. I mean, that would be great.
Yeah. So I think okay. So we look back at the last couple of sets, the DAO as a stakeholder and essentially as the client who is purchasing these services from the team. That relationship was pretty much non-existent. Right, like it was purely the team designing the product, selling the product. We as the community was then responsible for purchasing and perpetuating the company. It wasn't until we got to Rebellion where there was this product share, the service share, where we paid for the service of the team creating the product, and we were then rewarded with on a per pack sale basis, and we saw that kind of swing a little bit further with Conclave Arcana, where we not only did that same relationship, take another step forward or take the same step forward, but we were also roped in from the design perspective, and the community had, we had the opportunity to really sink our teeth into, is this card set in a sellable state? Is it in a position where it's going to make the game fun, exciting, keep it fresh? B, are we setting the DAO up to benefit as greatly as possible with a good product being put on shelves? So I feel like that needle is moving, but it's such a slow moving ship, right?
Yeah.
And I think what you're calling out, Jimmy, I don't disagree with you. I think you're absolutely right, actually. I would love for, something like CP specs on black foil or CP specs on, what you name it, some sort of specialized foil, to be one of the topics of discussion with the community as part of the initial DAO proposal. And I think we are learning. I would guess the next time the team puts out, hey, here's a core set proposal. We want the DAO to give us, $1 million, whatever. Here's the share. I would expect the community, the DAO, to speak up and say, hey, we would like to have, at least optics on and a voice speaking to what does this stuff look like impacting the regular foil players, the gold foil guys. So I think we're slowly moving towards that. But at the end of the day, it's like this whole thing is such a huge experiment. Like, I think we sometimes lose sight of the fact that
it's an
we
experiment.
as the community have such a significant voice in the direction that this game has moved over the last 18 months. And now moving forward, we've got a COO who takes, probably spends 40 hours of any given week speaking to the community. And it's not
Yeah.
it's not speaking to
Yeah.
his buddies. And it's not speaking to just the whales. It's speaking to every single person who reaches
Everybody.
out and says, "Hey, I have an issue. Can we talk through it?" So these things are being heard. I think it's just we're trying to boil the ocean, and it's going to take time to get. You know what I mean?
Well, there's
though?
also
like
there's a fine line too. Like you can't just be like, more eyes on ideas like, for example, black foil CP, just more eyes on it. And that doesn't mean throwing it out to community and then, we argue about it for 3 months. Just more eyes on it, and then
Well,
listening to the input those people have.
I feel back in the day, we used to get a lot more of it because we had those regular town halls. They would kind of mention stuff
100%.
that they were working on, and then I'm sure that whenever they mentioned anything new, the team's DMs got blown up. And like we don't really, especially now that it's less often, we don't really get much of that. And the team is definitely playing stuff very close to their chest at the moment. Normally when we hear about something, it's like, hey, it's going on Mavs. This is the idea. You might hear it somewhere else. But I guess like it is an experiment, but like it's kind of combining a few different existing experiments and trying to make one beast out of it. Like we're kind of doing things backwards. DAOs are not something new. DAOs were often, but we've done it backwards. DAOs often say, okay, this is the idea. We make a DAO. We're going to create a decentralized stablecoin. So somebody puts out the idea there, and then they kind of build from there. Whereas, and that was a priority. So it's like, okay, everybody puts money in, that goes in the treasury, and then the funds that, then we're going to mint these coins. And that's going to be what our DAO does. I'm involved with another DAO, Lifinity, which basically its mission is to provide liquidity in the Solana ecosystem, and to generate fees for its holders while doing so. And like I think we almost need to have some of that kind of like foundation. Like, what is the DAO here for?
That's a great question.
Bam, he's back. That was a good place to freeze, though. That was like,
great.
Pose this philosophical question, and boom, mic drop about. Bam, what's the DAO here for? Hey,
yeah,
I don't know, man.
I mean, I think we should do that, right? I think it's important because I think everybody has different ideas on what the DAO is and should be doing. And I think if collectively we came to a bit of a consensus about it, I think that makes making changes and doing proposals a lot easier because we can go, hey, well, it's in line with A, B, and C, so why are you blocking it?
We've also seen that definition evolve, right? I don't know if you guys remember, but there were a few of us kind of asking for community eyes to be more present on the cards as they were going through development, and there was a not insignificant group of stakeholders on the other side that said, no, that represents too many cooks in the kitchen, which I think is to a certain degree a valid point, but also as a player of the game, like I had been disappointed with a handful of card releases, and I felt like the team, the community, the gameplay, the meta could benefit from some great eyes and great players having a voice in the direction of that stuff. And we've kind of we've kind of seen that definition evolve into the DAO having a much more majority voice in the direction of some of these gameplay related decisions. Like the Nidhogger proposal was one, and that was a super divisive one. There were a lot of folks that felt like, yeah, Nidhogger sucks, and it should change, but it shouldn't be at the hands of the DAO. And then we saw that swing even further when the team made the unilateral decision to adjust Drakamoto. You know, there was no discussion, there was no DAO vote. The team just
It was also still on sale. It wasn't like out there in the wild.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, I feel
But
that
yeah, I see what you're saying.
like having the testers is helping with that process, right? Like I think there's still some of the testers that get eyes on the new airdrops before they come out. So I feel we're heading the right direction for that. Yeah, one that I think that should have been a DAO proposal, and I still do, is the change for the scholar system and playing 2 accounts per tournament. Like for me, that's about as fundamental change as the bot ban. And I feel that the team shouldn't really just be making that for the community. You know, like I could end up either way on what the right outcome is. But I just feel that, like, I agree, like that, you know, we shouldn't have all these top scholars, you know, playing all the top accounts, winning all the tournaments. But I feel that also potentially how they've gone about it is actually just a band-aid response instead of actually getting to the root cause.
Starlink
again. Starlink. Go tweet about Elon Musk being awesome. Do it. I love Elon. He's awesome. Tweet. Boom. All of a sudden your Starlink is back. That's a real world hack from what I understand too. There he is. All right, we lost you for a second there.
Yeah, my Starlink's doing me dirty,
man. I don't know if it's the mushrooms talking, but like you are basically like Rick Lonerman. Like you are Rick Lonerman. I'm seeing this right now as we're talking. And I don't think there's any reason why you should not be the voice of Rick Lonerman moving forward on everything Splinterlands related. Just saying.
Yeah. Sounds good. They can get in touch with me. But it's cool, right? We're seeing more and more stuff, you know, like happening. It's not just a card game, right? We have the songs. I think that's pretty epic, you know. At first, when I heard, I'm like, why are we wasting time on this? Yep, they're cool songs. And like after hearing about how little lift it is, it's like, okay, let's roll with it. And I love that it's already integrated into the game, which is cool.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't that was all done in spare time. It wasn't like that was on the clock stuff. That was like people who loved the game were like, let me fuck around with AI a little bit, and they made this cool stuff, you know. So that's awesome to see, and that's awesome that moves forward. And you know, as a musician who likes real, you know, humans doing music, I support the thing, you know, because it's cool. You know, we're in AI world now, man. You know. Can't get off my lawn. You know, that doesn't fly anymore. You know, it's like
nah, world is changing.
Yeah, it's changing fast. And if he could write some badass songs, and I mean, geez, when he launched, they put it up on SoundCloud, and I think it was within a few days. It might have been a day or two. There were like 1,300 followers on SoundCloud. And this wasn't Splinterlands people. This was just they put it out there, and however people stumbled across it, whatever tags were done, all of a sudden there were 1,300 people listening to the Splinterlands radio thing, like right out of the gates. To me, that's insane. You know, that's a huge indicator.
Good, right?
That this was a good move and a good idea, you know?
And it's something as well that people can use, right? Like the last few episodes, you guys have played a song on the way out. Like I feel there's just so many places that we can use it. And yeah, I like the idea that it's like almost like GTA styles, right? You just kind of got a radio rocking while you're playing some games. It'd be cool to get like little news snippets and stuff like that. I feel that the team could have a lot of fun with that, adding these like little extra tidbits to like, you know, Praetorian Radio. Or I'm excited to see if they kind of take it that bit further.
I think they will. I suspect they will.
Sneaking suspicions.
I think Jangles is making some AI tunes in his spare time as well, right?
I have been, yeah. The Llama Jam from last week, that was yours truly.
Llama Jam,
very nice. I always have to slow the episode down towards the end there. I always listen at like 1.5, but for the Splinterlands song and the your outro, it's better slowed down to the real speed.
Jimmy's outro, the cameo
Is that
appearances.
Jimmy?
Have you seen this? Have you heard this? Oh, Jangled, you were on a call a minute ago. I think you missed the whole thing where I said we got Rick Larneman here on camera.
How
Like,
we do,
literally.
man?
We absolutely 100% do.
Yes, sir.
We need.
See, I like.
Yeah.
So one of the side things that they do at some of the big Flesh and Blood events is they have cosplay competitions, which is pretty cool to see. Like, there's some amazing effort put into them. You know, like, can we do that at Splinterfest? Were there people dressed up at Splinterfest? I think there was a couple, right?
There was a
Oh yeah,
Baby
and they
Omega
never got their
definitely dressed up.
prizes. Oh my God, Silence
Oh,
dressed
no.
up as the pirate captain, and I remember there was a whole where they never got like the promised prizes. They're like, dude, I spent all this time. There was someone was the Wizard of Eastwood. There was a handful.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
I know Baby
Well, if
dressed
we
up
ever
as Dr. Blight. He's called that
Who
out
was
a couple
that?
of times.
Nice.
Baby Omega.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. There you go.
yeah.
Yeah,
If
I mean, I would do the Borat
Splinterfest,
Speedo. Does that fly in cosplay, or does that count, or no?
Yeah, you got to get that card in Splinterlands first, Jimmy.
Oh, that now you.
Well,
That's
there is
challenge.
Yabba's pickle. That might be borderline.
The Borat Speedo, man. I mean, we do have another Dow card coming.
We do. Yeah.
that's been a long time coming. That one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the rights to a couple of cards from the Cryptomancer proposal. It was in exchange for the Dow inheriting his salary.
So was the pickle the first one then? And
I think
then
so.
we have one more. Yeah, so we got one more.
Surely the pickle should be a bonus one. That was like Eagle putting the effort to make. I want
And
one more.
Clay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
So
should be a
I
bonus.
I tuned right back in when you guys were talking about the tunes. Let's take this tangent. You mentioned at the start of the show that you went down for a couple of Warp tours. Are you
Yeah,
a
man.
punk rock guy? Was there a particular band that you were after trying to see, or just the events in general?
Yeah, I think the event in general, there was like just such a wide range. I remember, oh man. No, I think it might be pushing the bounds of my memory at the moment, but there are a couple really good bands.
Do you remember what year
I
you
went in, I went in 2009, 10, and 14.
2009.
Yeah, I've done a lot of music festivals. That was like we used to do Soundwave, which is like a big music festival over in Australia. Not much comes to New Zealand, and if it is, it's expensive. So it's usually way cheaper just to go to Australia and like do Soundwaves where there's massive bands, and like a lot of the time there was like the lineups were real good. So we'd like fly in one weekend, do it in Brisbane, and then like get a camper van and do some side shows in the week, and then the following weekend do it in Melbourne. Just because there's too many good bands. Or like my mates, for example, they fiended System of a Down, so they saw them like 3 times that trip. I saw them twice, once at the main event, once at the side show, and then I think I saw another big band as a finisher when they went back for the third time.
That must have been like the Hypnotize, Mesmerize era of System of a Down. Is that right?
Yeah, that was like early 2010s. I think we did like 5 or 6 years.
Man.
But like all sorts. We had like Metallica, Iron Maiden. I saw so many bands at the like things like Warped Tour and what's it called? Soundwave. But my favorite festival for music is Arctangent. It's a like prog rock, math rock festival in Bristol, UK. I've been there a couple of times. It's like right up my alley of like music I love.
Did you say prog rock, meth rock?
Yeah, like math rock. It's like all like
That's a
numbers.
thing.
Yeah, not
Okay.
math, like MATH.
Oh, math rock. I've heard of that. Yes, that's a thing. Yes, I know the math rock. Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I was trying to think what band would qualify as meth rock. I got nothing.
Yeah, math rock. Math rock. I get it there. Do you like Yes, perchance? Classic Yes?
think they were one of the bands I saw at Warped Tour.
At Warped Tour, yes. Like the old, like
Maybe.
Close to the Edge, Roundabout.
Maybe I'm thinking.
We're talking like 70s. Like these guys were, Pink Floyd and Yes were some of the pioneers of the whole prog rock movement back in the day.
No, I don't think I know them. Yeah. I like a lot of the stuff they've inspired. I think a lot of these newer bands they grew up on like Pink Floyd and Yes. Gone, oh hey, that's cool. But now,
right, if you haven't heard it though, oh man,
I'll give it a listen.
That's like saying the hell with crypto or the hell with Bitcoin. Just give me the new stuff. You gotta listen to where it all
give me that
came from.
SBS.
I'll send you some links afterwards, and you gotta listen. I mean, we're talking 20-minute songs here, but you got to take a listen.
To be fair, that's kind of also what I did with crypto as well. Like I'm definitely pretty heavily weighted in my SPS compared to some of the projects. That's for sure.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. It's just so much better when you can play with your bags.
Shout out Rouge. Play with your bags.
Oh man,
nice.
Gonna need the adult label on this one too, there, Jangles.
I think I just need to mark. I just need to mark the podcast in general as explicit. Just cover our bases.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember one that hasn't had it for a while.
Fuck. just because I don't think we've said it on air yet. There it is.
Shit bags.
Nice.
Word. Well, let's jump back into the advice process. So talking through the identifying the problem, talking to subject matter experts. So I think this and the third point, which is talking to those affected by the decision. I'd be keen to hear your thoughts, Keeegs. Like how do we ideally achieve that? Because there's been, my first thought jumps to maybe the pre-proposal phase is extended to maybe like a month, and there is adequate time because a lot of folks are not really paying attention until that pre-proposal has officially kicked off. And I tend to agree with you. A week, because there is a lot of conversation that happens behind closed doors prior to the pre-proposal ever taking off. And I think part of that is because the pre-proposal phase is only a week and there's not much time to, wiggle around and fluff about and still land on a winning formula. So you're kind of forced to go behind closed doors and talk to the major stakeholders. Whereas I think what you're suggesting is actually putting a lot of that communication and discourse out in the public, which I think could be achieved by an extended pre-proposal time. We've seen Clay open up Discord channels that are proposal specific or like crafting proposal specific, which I don't think has gotten necessarily the kind of traction that you're alluding to with this stuff. So, I mean, have you started to think through mechanically and logistically how would we solve the airing of public communication in the way that you think is necessary?
Yeah, well, so I don't think we should be extending the pre-proposal process part. So for me, I feel like the proposal should be refined and, pretty much at a passing stage before it gets there. And the pre-proposal should be like, okay, we've had all these discussions, we've talked about it a lot. These are all the different points that people have had. This is the planned, what we're thinking about doing. Now is your final chance to get those small tweaks in. So I think we just need to try to find ways to bring more visibility to it earlier. So for example, I think somewhere in here I talk about, we could have like a bi-weekly DAO haul or something similar where, well, I mean, you're doing it already. So your league's post, that's the prime example. It's like, okay, let's try to start getting eyes and focus onto that. So it might be an announcement channel that goes, hey, Beat Jangles has just posted about this. This is a discussion that we're having about it. If this is something you care about or interested in or have ideas, come along, have a chat, put your input in there. And then, maybe a week later we can come on and you can come and have a chat on this DAO hall where you can go, hey, so this is coming. I've had a talk to Marta. He said like, oh, we could do this, and it's easier if we could do that. It's quicker, for testing. So I don't think it's about necessarily changing what that end phase. It's just like, how can we bring more attention to that early phase? And in that early phase, we hit on, what did the subject matter experts say? What did the whales say? What did and so then people can go back through and they can see a lot more of the history of how we got to whatever is in the pre-proposal phase. And more discussions. Yeah.
Yeah, it is important. I've seen so many proposals just, pop up there and be like, oh, all it needed was, it's like 80% there. If it was just tweaked just a little bit, or if the wording was a little better or more concise, we could have had something pass instead of fail and then get brushed under the rug or forgotten about.
Yeah, well, I feel so often people are just like, well, it's close enough, so let's pass it. And so this kind of led to like a lot of proposals. They're like, they're almost hitting the mark. They're just hitting the dartboard kind of thing. Whereas I feel, we could, because we have a lot of smart people with a lot of good ideas and, like just world experience. The only reason I'm chatting about this now is because I've seen the advice proposal and I've seen how helpful and effective it can be at managing such a big, community.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely vital. And again, we are learning. So we do. I think you're right. I think we're almost pointing at, we have to accelerate the learning process somehow at this point, with deliberate intention to do so. Not just stumble along in the dark and keep trying things out, but literally say, how do we move this forward? Everything I read that you shared over the past few days that's been the goal, it seems. More focus. How do we deliberately put some effort into moving this forward and getting this process, refining this process in real time? And
I guess just people need to I wish that the community had more experience with DAOs. Just seeing how they operate, because here we're so afraid to touch our war chest, but where a lot of DAOs, their whole point is to get a war chest and then do stuff with it to further their ecosystem or their project. So it's tough. A lot of people are coming from the gaming background, right? We didn't have a lot of DAO bros or crypto bros. There's some, but not as much. A lot more people are here for the game. People, not everybody gets excited about governance.
The governance is the byproduct. I think you're absolutely right. So what do you think of? Oh, go ahead, Jimmy.
I mean, I'll be honest. I thought that was the point of our war chest, was to eventually do stuff with it to grow the economy and our ecosystem and just grow the chest itself, the game, the chest, the whole economy. That was, I was under the impression that was the point. It was always kind of pitched as like some distant thing, but I mean, we're watching the years roll by, man.
Yeah,
it's time. I'm getting more gray hairs in my mustache every time I'm on this damn show, man. It's time to start doing some shit with that. And most of these gray hairs come from listening to the town halls. God damn it. It's all right. Let's go. Let's fucking start making.
At least they happen less frequently now.
Yeah.
They've slowed it down for you.
Yeah, but the intensity is more. So it's like
they
town hall is what happens there.
Oh, they've gotten better, Jimmy. They've gotten better.
They have recently.
I will 100% agree that there was a stretch where it was pretty painful. Yeah, but it's vastly improved. I mean, do you guys? Has there been an example of a DAO proposal that has been put out there that was attempting to use the DAO resources to further the war chest and perpetuate the DAO? I can't remember if there ever has, like, if there's ever been a proposal that has made it past purely discussion phase and into an official vote.
I think there has been a couple.
No, go ahead.
I think there has been a couple. I'm struggling to remember what. I'm just pulling up the proposals now to see what I can. I remember there was something to do with like maybe our HBD or something.
That rings a bell.
Yeah, the HBD, that one
Holizor.
definitely. The HBD
Yeah.
proposal, yeah, that's one. I think now we are actually claiming our we're staking Hive and
Hmm.
earning interest, or it's HBD or whatever, and we are actually actively earning on our Hive stake. So that's
Yep.
one there. This new Bitcoin idea, I freaking love it. That's been kicking
Hmm.
around where we take, instead of, a percentage of our sales, we buy Bitcoin with. That's freaking brilliant. I mean, seriously,
You know what I'm
we're worried about
loving about the
rewards. No, go.
like I say, what I've loved about the Bitcoin one the most is how much discussion it's having before it's getting to any kind of proposal phase. It could be
Yes.
cool to have, like one or two people to kind of take kind of like the champion for the idea. And, let's see if that Clay will give us a DAO spot, like set up the DAO YouTube channel, set up a time, and let's get some people in to discuss it. Like how can we, why are some people saying no? Why are some people saying yes? Like how can we come to a compromise that, we can at least try something? Because, like we got to the stage where we're just not doing anything. Like we have to make the things happen. We can't just sit
Yeah,
and wait for the
yeah.
team to do everything.
100%, man. We have years of not doing anything, and it's not gotten
Hmm.
us anywhere. It's time. Now we have a few months of actually doing things, and we're seeing the snowballs start to roll down the hill. We have to keep doing things, being proactive, and trying new things. And
Yep.
honestly, man, if we're a crypto game, incorporating Bitcoin could be one of the greatest things we could possibly do. And it's not like it's out of the blue, or like, oh, people have to donate to do this. It's literally like we're taking some of what we make in packs and turning it into Bitcoin. That's what the DAO's
Hmm.
doing. And we're talking about the potential to perpetually fund the game and fund rewards,
Hmm.
and the advertising, the free advertising involved with the crypto game that actually offers Bitcoin as a part of its rewards. It's like, I don't know. It just seems like one of the greatest ideas that I've heard in a long time for expanding the boundaries of what we do. Nope, frozen again. Rick Larneman froze up one more time. He's
Stunned.
usually back pretty quick. Yep. Stun. That's right. My magic stun kicked in there. There he is. I was
What
just
you're
saying
saying, Jimmy, is just blowing me out the water.
that you
At,
look
le-
like
at
Rick
least I'll get it when I
Larneman.
listen back to it. Um, well, and like what I was gonna say as well, like like so full affinity, the DAO that I'm part of, like how they kind of like how some of that token is valued is like how much is the assets worth that is backing it. And so, it's almost like one to one. If you look at like, and so building up things like Bitcoin in our treasury could actually help, create a floor or help support the SPS price. I was looking at it earlier, and as a month old, I was looking at
100%.
Clay's DAO report, and I think it was like 1.3 million in assets about a month ago. And then I looked at like how much we had staked, SPS staked, and I think it was like the SPS price was about a quarter. No, we had assets that was about a quarter of the like what the SPS stake was. So like, staked SPS might currently be worth like 4 and a bit million, and I think we had like 1 and a bit in assets kind of backing it. So in theory, that could be a long way to fall. Like because I guess one way that some DAO says like, okay, like if the DAO falls over, we redeem these tokens for the assets to the holders as like a fallback. And
Right.
yeah, I think if we build our war chest, that's another thing that's going to help support the SPS price.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's backed by it's the Dow Treasury, it's the
Yeah.
game. There's this intangible element of what the game actually is and represents, and the development that's happened there. And looking at it as a game crossed with a DeFi platform, there's tremendous value there that can't be really quantified in numbers or in crypto terms or in dollar amounts, because
Yeah.
that's all potential. It could be zero, or it could be billions of dollars if we quote play our cards right. But the Dow Treasury, I mean, that's a hard number that people can look at and say,
Mhm.
wow, this is SPS is backed by How much Bitcoin? How much? We have Ethereum in there. It's blown my mind because I was saying this years ago. We have Ethereum. Why don't we have any Bitcoin? We're a crypto game. Let's get some crypto gold in our freaking vaults.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Well, like, that's kind of half the reason why we end up with a lot of Hive as well, right? Was like kind of like putting our money where our mouth is. The Hive DAO, if they were to give us stuff, they wanted us to have some Hive. And like I feel that's pretty fair and reasonable.
And we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was
And
legit.
it's working, right? Like, it gave us money to hire on Blaze. It's helped with some of this promotions. There's more and more happening slowly. That's I think it's like a powerful tool, right? And like it's the power of a DAO, right? We weren't able to do that. Like we went to another DAO to help with that. Like I don't know why we are so afraid to spend our resources as a DAO to help send ourselves forward. We're not just the Dragon DAO, the SPS Dragon DAO, where we just sit on everything we get.
Well, that's a valid point. It's the time has come to be proactive. We've been inactive for years, and now it's time to go out there and make things happen. That's the new mentality we're seeing it. It works. It works.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely.
No, go, Rick. Go.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to start putting these posts out. Like let's start getting these discussions happening. Let's start like looking like how do we want to do this? How do we want to try this? And like you said, like try stuff. Like how can we try stuff with such low barriers? So it's like like it's not the end of the world if it fails. We're not going to crash the price of DEC. It's just a small tweak and like see like is it working? Oh, it is working. Okay, do we want to double down on it more? Like one thing that I'd love to see is like we've got this wild season pass. Why don't we, instead of burning it, why don't we use that to start funding a future rewards pool? Like I think we could do the same with the survival. If we put a fee in there for survival mode, part of that could be the rewards for it, so that the DAO has to give up less SPS. If you do well, great. If not, you might end up a little down. But we're not in a world where everybody's just gonna, be up. Some people have to lose for some people to win.
I think, an interesting way to approach these things is going to be like incremental change and very clear testing, right? It seems like a knee-jerk reaction to a lot of DAO proposals, and maybe this is something to consider when we're looking at the whole purpose of this document that you put together, Keeegs, and it's brilliant. I'd love if you would kind of share this in the TPG Discord when I drop the episode, so folks can kind of get eyes on what you're thinking here.
I'll try to get it on Hive.
Yeah, nice. That works too.
Yeah,
and we can just post the link.
Copy paste. Bam.
Yeah. Is things feel so final, and I you know what I mean? Like we turned off bots. Okay, now that's the new MO moving forward. There's no going back, and everything feels so static. When the reality is, all of this, all it needs is a vote to overturn it, or a vote to amend it, or a vote to pivot and go in a completely new direction. So, I wonder if like these big, potentially very meaningful, impactful proposals like the Bitcoin thing. And I think one of the major advantages to what Tails was talking through is he was only talking through the end of the year. So it would be 4 months of pack sales that we would sample and test this new direction with respect to the DAO resources. And then we would have time to, pause and reflect and run some data and reassess and see if this is the kind of thing that we want to implement long term. Whereas it certainly feels like the DAO's response is like, we have to get it 100% right the first time. And that's where the fear is. I feel like that's the cornerstone of the knee-jerk reaction that is, no, we won't support that, is the implication that this is the long-term answer, when the reality couldn't be further from the truth. It's a test. It's an experiment.
Yeah, Dave
Well,
talks
I
about
just
that a
wish.
lot, where it's like he says there's too much thinking in ultimatums. You have yes or no, you have black or white, you have one or the other, as opposed to finding the shades of gray and seeing how to come together, how to compromise, and how to actually make things happen in a not totally polarizing binary way.
Well, unfortunately,
Yeah,
we've been conditioned to think in a binary fashion, right? Like everything has always been. It's
Ones and
only
zeros,
recently that,
baby.
yeah, it's only recently that we've been, kind of embracing the in between. For a really long time, it was hard yes or hard no, and there's nothing in between that's even on the docket for discussion, which I think is a mistake. And I think we've learned,
Yeah.
and I think we've matured to a point where actually the gray is 100% worth exploring and trying to pull something viable and sustainable out of the gray.
Yeah, well, and like that's the thing. Like, why can't we just test with, if some people's concern is, it's going to crash the price of DC. Like, why don't we just do a smaller percentage of it? Why it could be half, it could be 10%. But like, I guess one of my issues is so often is like, no, we won't support it, and that's it. It's like, what about, no, I won't support it, and at current stage, my concerns are X, Y, and Z. So okay, cool. Now we've got something that we can work with. Like, okay, so you're concerned about that, or how can we then, what levers do we have to tweak or pull to kind of make it so that, okay, you guys are happy, you guys are happy, you guys are happy, cool. Let's try it. And like, yeah, like let's try and make it so it's an easy thing to try. It's not something that's big and scary. We don't need to make these big final choices. Let's try stuff. How can we try stuff? On the side, I haven't fleshed this one out as much, but it's something that kind of came to me while I was away on my trip is I'm thinking about setting up like a small little DAO. And the kind of initial intention is to try and help stabilize the DEC price. The idea is that, we'll honor DEC at like, 1,000 to $1. And we put it out there, like, hey, this is what we're doing. You can give us DEC, you can give us HBD, you can give us like, USDC or USDT on Hive. And then, then we go and create these deep liquidity pools. And I don't know if all the math checks out, but, if we set up these pools honoring it at, like $1 to 1,000 DEC, and if these pools are deep enough, that will potentially drag the price of DEC back up. Now, there's no way that we could do that with the Splinterlands DAO. There's so many people that are just going to shut that down. But as a community little side project, that's totally something that we could do. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to think and have a play with it. But, and I think if we get DEC to stick around PEG, man, that makes life a lot easier for a lot of people in this ecosystem. And that's, side
I almost
tangent.
want to say
But,
that's kind of been tried before. I know in the past we used to sell a lot of things at like considering DEC was at PEG.
Yeah.
Are we still doing that? Or
We
PAX
still do.
in the shop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all pegged.
Yeah.
Now we actually just need
we
DEC to stay at PEG.
Yeah, we just need the
Well, you know how we do
syncs,
that?
right?
More players, more
players.
demand, more players. Bam!
Right on
Bam! More players. And you guys are wiggling all over the place now. I gotta tell you that too. No, I'm kidding. Kidding, of course. But yeah, more players, baby. That's what we're talking about. And we're getting there, man.
But I feel
we're getting there.
Still things that we can put in place to help that. Like, we're slowly working on the new players things, but like, what can we do in between to help shore up the ecosystem or make things better or easier? Yeah.
Have you guys looked at the Peak Monsters stat dashboard recently?
Not
the stat
recently.
dash. The old stat dash.
The old stat dash.
Dash.
Check this out.
Are you going to show it to us?
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
Is bright?
Oh.
I'm kidding. Go, Jimmy.
Oh man, I wish I had accidentally grabbed some mushrooms out of the freezer, dude. I'll tell you what, we got another typhoon day. That'd be a great way to spend my day.
Next time you got to send some out before the call, Jimmy.
Yeah, dude. So look at this. So throughout July, we were hovering sub 5 2, 4 spell books, 1 spell book, 6 spell books. It was a pretty dismal average number of spell books. Look at the last few days. 33 on the 11th, 28 on the 10th, 19 so far today, 26th on the 9th. New players, 164, 179, 207. So I mean, things are moving, and it's very difficult to argue that it's not directly correlated to
the name of the new
advent
mode?
of front basic mode. Yes, thanks to basic mode. But I mean, things are happening, and I feel like we've done more to advance the game in the last 3 months than we did in the last
3 years.
Yeah. I feel like it's just things are gradually moving, and then I feel like it's going to be kind of all of a sudden we're seeing some interesting stuff happen on the crypto market, which could move the needle in a big hurry for us. And man, honestly, I would really love to see Keeegs if circling back to our earlier conversation, and this definitely ties into advancing the game and bringing new players and getting new eyeballs on what we're doing, is how do we bridge Splinterlands into the real world? I think that's something that no matter who you are in Splinterlands, whether you're a DAO bro or a gamer or an investor and all you do is bot stuff, or you're trading,
or you're actually Rick Loneman.
Or you're actually Rick Loneman. You don't have to cosplay. Yeah. You're always in cosplay.
10 years.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
Bridging that gap and getting fresh eyeballs on this stuff now that we've got these like very instrumental pieces in making the game that much more accessible for folks that are just keen to try a new way of playing a TCG.
An awesome new fast-paced digital TCG in real time. Bam.
Bingo.
Or maybe that should be one of these proposals that we explore. Is what does it look like? How can the DAO create these kits that some of the community can go and take to conventions? It's kind of like all the Splinterlands employees. They've all been players. So why can't we send the communities? Maybe there might be a little bit of vetting. But, we might be able to send them some banners, some cool little merch that we could give out, and then a whole bunch of, like spellbook with, convention promo kits. Because like I could go to some of the Armageddons that we have here. They do like 6 of those a year. We could just have a little booth in the corner. We talk about Splinterlands. We get people on Frontier mode. We give them some merch. A lot of people that go to those conventions, they just go to every booth and take all the freebies, all the things that you can play. And if you just get them to play it, like we could have a couple of accounts set up on an iPad, you can do a battle, and if you like it, hey, take this. This is your spellbook redemption. You get a promo, you get some packs, get into Foundation mode, free to play. How do you say no to that, right?
Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Do you say that? Is that a phrase in your vernacular, Keeegs? It wasn't until I got to New Zealand that I had ever heard that one, and it's a pretty goofy one, but I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely a pretty Kiwi thing for sure. Good old Bob. Bob was one of my uncles. Yeah.
Nice.
I have no idea what you just said. That was awesome. We got a bit of it on the rolling on the blades here, right? It's a bloody fire team. We got there we go.
Jimmy, the weird thing is that's gonna make sense to somebody.
Right,
yo, totally, man.
Right? Hey, God, fine. Blimey.
It's like listening to the Scottish people, eh? They're worse for it.
Yeah. Oh my God, you ever see the Scottish guy trying to talk to Siri?
No.
Absolutely do. If you ever want to kill a couple minutes on the toilet, pop open some Scottish people talking to Siri. Absolutely genius right there. Siri does not understand Scottish people speaking English in their dialect. Absolutely.
Most people don't.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I like that idea. I really think we should I hadn't thought about it much, but really think about it with Foundation Frontier mode. Man, it's like so easy low wins. Like it's low hanging fruit for sure. Imagine Gen Con. There's multiple thousands of people that go to those. And
Yeah,
like,
man.
it's not like we're giving out much. What's a spell book? Who cares about getting the $10 up front? Let's just get them playing.
I mean, that sort of
Well,
stuff
they don't
could
even need a
probably
spell book,
get.
right?
You need a spell book to sell and trade cards. I mean,
Yeah.
Which is
that's the
awesome.
sort
I
of
mean, you see what they're going for. They're going to do that. That sells itself. Oh, what you got, little doggies over there? Bam. We got some fur babies running around.
Yeah.
What you got? What
We live
you
in a pretty
got?
quiet. What kind of dog? He's a bit of a mongrel, bit of a mix of everything. I don't know if we necessarily know, but sometimes he likes
what's
to
his
bark
name?
at a few cars. Twiggy.
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 Twiggy. Yeah.
Love it.
Twiggy.
Oh, somebody's. Oh,
Someone's
now it's not
breaking
the
in your
time,
door,
Roger.
man. Go grab your shotgun and see what the hell's going on over there.
Nah, it's nobody. It's the neighbor coming. I have to send him on his way. He doesn't have a cell phone. Well, he may have a cell phone. We don't know his number, but he just shows up from time to time. Usually with like, hey, we've got these old sheds you can have or whatever.
Nice. I'm looking in the background. I see a Rubik's Cube. I see a Rubik's Cube with 4x4 and another Rubik's Cube that's 5x5.
Yeah, you see my little stash of goodies back
That's
there.
hardcore shit right there, man. A 5x5. Is that even possible for a human to solve?
Not by me. I used to be able to do the 4x4. It would take my time, but I could do the 4x4. The 3x3, I got under a minute for a while there, but
I used to know the
pretty
3x. You had to memorize the patterns, and you could do the 3x3 pretty quick. It was like a little hack,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh, just do this and do." Yeah, but the
Yeah.
5x5,
See-
that's like,
I got
That's
plans.
serious
I've got get like a Splinterlands lore book up here. I think I'm
Yes.
getting like one of those little Dr. Blight miniatures. I'm just slowly adding to my little shelf of goodies from games.
this
And some
guy
just
right
games.
here. Oh,
Yeah, one of
I need
those.
to
Nice.
paint him. We got to get him painted at some point. I'll give someone like 100 SPS to paint this miniature. I'm just throwing this out there right now. Bam.
You'll be knocking on your door for that 100 SPS there, Jimmy.
Damn straight.
Shoot.
I think I have one still in
Oh.
the package too, now that I think about it. Sent
You know,
one to my
but-
scholar.
Nice.
To the point of the tourney stuff and leveraging frontier mode and giving away spell books, I kind of feel like that's something that we could go back to the Hive, like the Splinterlands DAO could approach the Hive DAO and subsidize that sort of stuff, because that's a big win for Hive, right?
Yep.
And if we could,
And
I mean,
guess we'd have
that
to
feels
learn
like a
what their
win-win
goals
for
are.
the whole ecosystem. Say what,
Yeah,
Jimmy?
what are the goals? Oh, we'd have to find out what
Yeah.
are the goals of the Hive, big stakeholders. Like, do we want to get out there and do we really want to be known as like the best gaming chain in the freaking universe?
It
Yeah.
should be. It is.
We could do like a shared booth pretty easy.
Boom.
Well, I know
shared
Clay-
graphic,
Clay told me
Twister
he
in the
did just
middle.
he's bought tickets to go to Hive Fest this year, and he will be representing, the DAO and the team, I guess, to a certain extent.
Where is that?
Kuala Lumpur,
Oh, okay.
mid-October.
Yeah.
Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that we could do. I think getting more and more people, Splinterlands actual players, engaged on Hive would be good as well, right? That's kind of what Hive wants to see is more. One of the things I imagine they want to see is more engagement on their blogging networks.
Yeah, I saw your inaugural post a couple weeks ago now. The official
got a couple
entry
more coming.
into Hive. Yeah, nice.
I want to do one about my Flesh and Blood tournament this weekend. I figured, especially
Good.
in the top 8, that's worth a bit of a chat. And
Yeah.
there'll be more Splinterland stuff. I've probably got a short turnaround time. I don't know what your turnaround time is, but I got to get that up there before the episode comes out for this first Finding the Flow.
Well, we got a typhoon here today, so life is pretty much on pause.
Yeah.
So
Another typhoon. Holy
yeah,
shit.
man,
You
this
guys are
is
raging over there, man.
so for context, I lived here for 6 years during my first stint, and I had precisely 0 typhoon days. This summer alone, this is our fifth government mandated closure. It's crazy.
Whoa.
So they just like shut the whole thing down. Hey, like don't go to work, don't go to school, stay home.
It's all shut
lock
down.
in.
McDonald's and
Whoa.
7-Eleven are about the only thing open.
Well, what else do you need?
What
Bam.
else do you need? Yeah.
Big Mac and cigarettes, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, you drive down the street and there's a line wrapped around the corner for McDonald's drive-through. It's pretty fun.
At least you guys still have
It kind of like
weather
defeats the purpose, right?
prediction there.
Yeah. So that with respect to turnaround time, I'll standard about 8 hours from now. I'll aim to have it live.
Okay, cool. I gotta cook my dinner after this and get onto it. Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, we're gentlemen.
Nice.
What do you want to pick another one of your potential proposals here, Keeegs, and kind of focus in on one of these to kind of round things out? Is there one that is more meaningful to you in particular than the others?
I guess like there's
rewards planning.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's one that we can touch on, and maybe like another one that I'll quickly touch on too, and then we'll finish on the rewards planning.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess one is changing the land production points. So I'll try to keep this one brief. But basically, when we set the modifiers, it was all fixed. There's no way to adjust it. And so I think one thing that we could do is that as sets rotate out of modern, they then get the 1 times multiplier. And then everything else can be adjusted. Now, like alpha might stay the same. Alpha might max out at the 10 times, and then everything else just kind of shuffles up in between that range. Or, everything could get +1. But I feel it's just something that could be done that will help. Like one of the biggest things that Splinterlands tried to do is protect the value of the assets. So as soon as they kind of rotate out of modern, there's usually a big drop. And this, I know one of Buckdos's arguments about survival is like, survival means that like the better cards can still maintain more value, whereas like most of the time when they rotate out, it's just floor value. This is what it's worth on land. Doesn't matter if it's a kitty or a rusty android. But yeah, so I guess it's like something that like, we've got a bit of time till it matters, but I think that is something that we should think about and, make some changes. And this might be like one of those really slow burning proposals. Like let's just get the idea out there. Let's get what people thinking about it. Let's get some, if you've got any suggestions or ideas, feel free to reach out. Yeah, like what do you guys think about that? Like, if anything, it actually adds value.
Yeah, I thought that was actually, for some reason, I was under the impression that's how it was going to be. Like, as every new set came out, everything just got bumped up a little nudge, and the new set became a 1, multiplier.
Yeah.
So Chaos Legion went up from 1 to either 1.5 or 2. And it could even be, incremental like that as you go closer to the top. Like Alpha doesn't have to be 1. If Chaos Legion gets an extra 1, maybe Alpha gets a 0.1 or a 0.25 or something, where it just kind of everything boosts up a little. So the new floor set becomes the 1 on land. I don't know what gave me that impression, but I honestly thought that's how things were going. It just seems like so.
I remember we specifically talking about that on a town hall way back when.
Maybe that's like where I got that from.
The moving the moving land production variable for each set as it moves further and further away from modern. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like you would think, especially as if we're thinking 5 years down the line, Rebellion is at that point 5 years plus removed from modern.
And And it's at negative 0.5 on land.
Especially since we've got all the
Half
Chaos
of these
Legion
cards are
to get
absolutely
through,
worthless
too.
outside of gameplay. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Oh my God.
And like
Then the
even if you
Legion-
keep alpha fixed and everything just kind of slowly gets closer and closer. Because I think one concern I feel I can already hear people saying is PP inflation, like now we're just going to produce more resources and not enough sinks or whatever. But hopefully as these things are increasing, the team has put more and more sinks into it, so we kind of almost need the inflation.
Well, it also, like, if we're making a big push for new players, what do they do with their cards after, Rebellion has gotten the added boon of being eligible for the current conflict system. But once that falls off and Rebellion moves into Wild, how do you continue to protect that value? Well, I mean, for some cards like Tofu, it's going to be eternally valuable as a summoner.
Well, you would have thought that with my lore until
Archon.
Tofu came out.
Oh, Archon. Shit.
No, it's a summoner, goddammit. I'm there. It's eternally a summoner, for God's sake.
Jimmy on mushrooms is Jimmy no filter. I love this, man. Bring it on. But yeah, I mean, there's other cards like I can't even, they're forgettable because you never play them. They're just sitting there pretty much. Chaos Lackey.
Chocolate Babies. Babies card. No one plays Chocolate Babies.
Oh, man.
I don't know why.
But yeah, I mean, that makes total sense, dude. I feel like that would be, I think that the logical byproduct would be actually more land activated. What do I do with my Rebellion cards after they exit, right? Like my Chaos Legion set, for example. I have barely like those cards have so much dust on them up until this season when just yesterday I fired up I finally remembered to fire up the bot in survival mode. But otherwise those cards have just been gathering dust sitting there. Well, if they had a moving multiplier towards their production value on lands, I might be keen to actually go out and buy some additional plots and, get fired up what I could and slowly move that ratio of active to inactive, swinging it more towards higher activated plots. So I don't know, man. I love the idea.
Yeah. And like, between that and, the team creating more and more demand, like that's going to make, so much more land usage, come online. And that's stuff that we're chasing, right? Like, it's a no-brainer to try push as many levers as we can. That makes sense. Not put a band-aid on it. Let's go, okay, what's going to actually fundamentally make these changes? Okay, another quick one. Like the standing or regular contracts for the core work for the DAO. So prime example is developing sets. We want the team to develop sets on an ongoing basis. And so every time at the moment when we're coming up to a new set, it's a whole new vote, it's a whole new discussion, it's a whole new thing that could go wrong. It's a lot of effort for the team. I know Matt's probably not a fan of it. He's definitely, I think, has talked in the past about being scared or wary of putting proposals out because of the reaction of the community. Let's just set a standard. Let's go, okay, we're going to give you 1 million DEC over, upfront. We want every 18 months, we want a core set. The core set will include a reward set that will release, 6 months later, include a promo sale and, maybe a mini set or something. And we could set that standard. And then, when it comes around, then we can just make minor adjustments, So next time we might go, actually, it started to cost us a little bit more to develop it. So for this coming proposal, we're just saying, let's raise that from 1 million to 1.2 million. Or we could put in there, we could stipulate pack prices, or, we could increase the cadence of promos or whatever it is. Also include the voucher cards. But I feel that's going to give the team certainty that they know that no matter what, this DEC is going to come in And as long as we really don't piss them off, nobody's going to put in a proposal to cancel the contract. And like, there's not heaps of places that this would be applied, but I feel, like even things like Clay's contract, at the moment I think it's a yearly renewal. This again could be like a standing contract that like, hey, yep, cool. We're at the stage now where we're happy with Clay. We'll keep him on an ongoing basis, and then if stuff changes, that's when it's a time to do a proposal instead of doing it every year, having an argument about it, and people upset. It just happens. I feel that's kind of definitely part of the maturing of the DAO, because like it's super common in most workplaces. Like they'll have these contracts and they kind of run indefinitely until.
Yeah, they run indefinitely until canceled. Like my subscription. Subscription-based consumption of media goods. Sirius satellite radio.
I miss my I miss my Sirius subscription.
Oh, well, my guy just called today. So I had a new vehicle a couple months ago, and the guy's like, they kept calling. They're calling. Hey man, hey bro, we're gonna give you your Sirius. All you got to do is pay this much a month, $2 a month for 3 months, and then $30 a month after that, bro. I'm like, no, I can't afford that. I don't want to do that. If you keep telling them no,
that's just outrageous, man.
They keep dropping the price, man. They're just like less and less and less. He's like, I got the guy to be like, dude, $5 a month for a year. I'm like, I'm in. It's like after that, it'll go up to 30. I'm like, okay. And I could cancel anytime. He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I'll do $5 a month. That I can deal with. I'm making that off my Splinterlands land. In fact, maybe I'm going to extract a little bit from my land to pay for my Sirius satellite radio consumption in my vehicle. I think that's my new plan moving forward. I'm going to actually extract. But yeah, anyone doing stuff like that, just go cold turkey, and they're begging for your business. Pennies on the dollar, man.
What's your favorite channel on Sirius, Jimmy? Dead?
Well, I mean, I have to say I listen to the Grateful Dead radio regularly.
Does Steve still do Big Steve Show?
Oh yeah, the Big Paris thing. I keep trying to call in, but I keep forgetting to do it beforehand. I'm going to get on there, and I think we're going to have a lengthy discussion. I want to talk to him about Road Crew. Be like, bro, let's hear the deal, man. Road Crew, who did what for how long? Yeah, he's been doing some cool YouTube stuff too. But then I listen to a lot of different news channels, man. I listen to a wide range. I go from I'll listen to Fox News, I'll listen to CNN, I'll listen to Progressive. I listen to the whole, I want to hear where everyone's at, I think that's the best way to get a good gauge for the temperature of everything, is to hear what all the different sides are saying about different. I listen to BBC a lot. I listen to NPR while we still have it. Funding, people who aren't aware, funding just got cut. We're losing NPR. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy shit going on in the world right now. So yeah, a lot of music and a lot of news is what I listen to, basically, from different sources.
I think it's channel 26 that is probably not on your.
Is that Fish? No, I will not listen to Fish Radio. FTN. Fuck that noise. Sorry, Jimmy. Fuck that noise. Holy crap. You just killed my buzz, man. You killed my buzz, man. I got a bad trip going on now. God damn it. I told you my last fish show, right? I would like a real fish show. I was sitting next to John Fishman's father in Madison Square Garden in like 1995 on New Year's Eve.
Oh, no. I've definitely never heard this story before.
Yeah, I'll tell you how I got in another time. That was one of those weird miracle things. But I slipped him a note that said, hey, give this to your son. He's wearing a big pass that says Fish Parent. So it was obvious who it was. And that's exactly John Fishman. I slip him a note. I write something down real quick. I'm like, hey, can you give this to John? He's like, sure, man. We talk for a bit. About like 3 months later, I get a reply from John in the mail to my question, where he literally just wrote something on the corner of a piece of paper, tore it off, and threw it in an envelope. But that was pretty cool when I liked fish. And
that's an awesome story, man.
Yeah, and that was the last time I saw him until somewhat recently, where we watched half a show and then left.
Oh man.
It was so bad, dude. It was so bad. Oh my god! And there was so much BS.
Well, what is somewhat recently, Jimmy?
It was at the Bill Graham Center in San Francisco. I want to say 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Someone gave us tickets.
Recent.
My wife and I went, and yeah, we suffered through one set and then left at set break.
Oh, what a hater! What a hater! It's Channel 29.
We gave it a chance, man. They used to be good.
29.
We used to see them in the bars in the ski towns in Colorado. They were good back then, man. I don't know what happened. Don't know what happened.
They got sober.
It's lyrical genius.
They
that's
sober.
probably part of the problem.
Yeah. Well.
We got little Jimmy. Let's see him.
Little Twiggy.
Hang on.
Twiggy.
Can you see him? Oh, no.
No. Twiggy.
Hey,
he looks
Twiggy.
like an Australian Shepherd.
Bit
Like
in the
a
light,
cross
but
between a
more.
border collie
little
Shepherd.
Twiggy.
Type thing.
Yeah, he's definitely got a bit of border collie in him for sure. It's quite fun. I take him to the beach. You can see him like stalking things. He'll kind of lay down and wait for ages until he gets close. Yeah, he's getting close to feeding time. He's telling me he's hungry. Hey.
All right.
All right, well, let's press on. We're at the 2 hour
What
mark
was the
here.
last one?
Yeah, so I do really like the idea of the standing contracts just for the sense of security and
Yeah.
I think this goes back to
Yeah,
what we
good
were
till
talking about a
canceled.
little bit earlier, where there's that sense of fear and resistance and reluctance to vote for certain things because they feel like it is long term. I mean, this demonstrates exactly why things are actually not long term because it's all subject to the next DAO vote. Yeah, so I am generally a big fan of the idea of a secure standing contract there.
Yeah, it doesn't fit everywhere, but at least for development, right? It makes sense.
Yeah, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So into long-term rewards planning, eh?
Long-term rewards planning. Let's do it.
That's something we've needed, man. I don't understand. It's been shut down multiple times when it's been brought up over the past, I don't know, year and a half.
Yeah.
And I can't understand why. I honestly, it's like, nope, not the time to talk about it. Like, dude, we got like 2 years left. Now we're at a point where we have a year left. When is the time to talk about it? We're sitting there with our pants.
I think it's because they want. Yeah, I think it's because they want the company to give us the answer. They don't think the community can come up with the answer. I think a lot of people feel
that's one of the few things I would say is literally the responsibility of the DAO.
Yeah,
that's like our sole purpose. That's like the fiber of the
number one
being.
purpose for sure.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, so one easy way is just start adjusting it to it's like a percentage of the pool. Each instead of just reducing it a fixed amount, it's a percentage of the pool. And it's got lots of pros and cons. As the price of SPS goes up, so do the rewards. If it goes down, that's tough. But you can also then add to the pool. So like if it's giving out 1% of a million, great. But then the DAO might do a vote to go, okay, so for the modern reward pool, we're going to add an extra 500,000 SPS. And then that, or might be one that we go each month we add it, so it slowly increases it instead of one big boost. But I think once you've just got this pool, and like if you do the 1%, it's never going to run out. Then we don't necessarily have to have the discussion like, okay, how are we going to fix it? It's just like, okay, do we want to add more? Do we want to add different things to this bucket? We like our buckets now, at Splinterlands.
Yeah,
basic
all of a sudden there's buckets everywhere, man. Yeah.
It's like an earth building site.
All them buckets flying out of my ears. The Bob Dylan bucket song.
Help
to rain. Ooh. The song. Look it up.
I help run some earth building workshops from now and then, and there's never enough buckets. That's one thing I can tell you. There's never enough.
Did you say earth building?
Yeah, earth building. We make like houses and pizza ovens out of like clay and rocks and fiber, like straw
You
and stuff like
posted
that.
something of that. You've been doing that, man. I saw one of your pictures where you guys were building like a pizza oven or something crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah, we did that with like a local homeschool. Well, one of the I think the photo is of helping a local homeschool group. It's just like a lot of fun. The kids get hands in, and yeah, you just make some awesome stuff with earth. No straight walls or anything like that. Well, you can if you want, but
Well, slap
yeah,
a Hive logo on there and a Splinterlands logo. Bam. Bake it into the mug. We're good. We're good.
Splinterlands bricks.
So, yeah. And
Um,
again, man, Bitcoin is another potential solution to long-term rewards
yeah,
problem.
that could be something in the bucket.
Yeah.
I mean, this serves as a very different approach to, it's different means to a very similar end. And I think when we're framing things around the context of long-term reward structure, I think that raises eyebrows, and that
Mhm.
provides, a bit of the sense of urgency that I think actually should be present on a lot of these things. So maybe that's the secret sauce there, Keegs. I like framing these things around the idea of, setting the DAO up for long-term sustainable viability on paying rewards. Otherwise we face the very tough decision of not offering rewards, which all of a sudden we're no longer Web3, right?
Which we came very close to already.
Yeah. And we can't do that.
We can't go down that road.
No.
I missed a bit of that. There's been a lot of lagging out on this call. I've got some good mic drops.
It's actually been pretty smooth. It's never been like in the middle of a sentence. It's like you say something profound and then you're dead quiet. And only because we see you freeze do we know what's going on. So I think our
Yeah.
listeners will be very impressed with your timing and your tact throughout the episode. Mr.
Well, I will try and do a favor and edit some of this stuff. So I don't know. We'll have to see if I'm going to get this thing live by 8 o'clock tonight. We'll see.
Make
Rick
a bit extra
Launeman.
work this time.
Rick Launeman. I'm telling you,
And
that's the guy.
one other thing with like the rewards playing as well is like, we might decide that cool, we want to maintain it for wild and modern and stuff, but for land, we actually just want that pool to run out and that the team is going to put in a place things that give benefits to occupied plots, and let's not mint any more SPS for land because we don't need it. Same with like the LP pools, right? We've completely stopped those. There's just so many different elements and areas in the ecosystem that need rewards, and everything might not have the same solution.
Mm.
No, agreed. Yeah, I'm mining a buttload of SPS. Most of my SPS is coming from land right now, but I would
same.
definitely agree that that's definitely something to consider and discuss, and probably a good move to eventually stop the SPS, distribution from land and just get us more into resources and maybe even items and spells from land. Imagine that. Oh my
Imagine
God.
that. What a
Imagine
breakthrough
dragon.
idea.
It sounds like we're
dragon.
close to getting at least a card from land. It may not be playable, but it's a first step.
It's a start. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. And I feel like, especially with land, like Cryptomancer's been really good at kind of building the foundations in place and then making it super easy to add stuff. Like we're seeing that with the Aura Shop, right? It's pretty low lift to just we just need to change how much of each for the input, and then creative can create the items. And probably there's definitely some coding for like actual use case. But now that we've got the auction marks, right? We're doing it for Pickle. We're going to do it for Satoshi.
Oh, I love those, man. Those are great. Auction marks and the raffle tickets thing, the fortune tickets. That's brilliant.
Fortune
I want to see
draws.
more of that.
Yeah.
More of that.
Yeah.
With items and spells. Right
That
next.
starts tomorrow, doesn't it?
What does the pickle?
Soshi?
Yeah, Drakomoto.
I think
The
so.
What do you
arcane.
mean?
I know there's a
draws.
few things coming up.
Oh, maybe I have to make some auction marks there or some more fortune
I just don't have the
tickets.
spare resource. I'm too busy
That's
creating
true.
wagons. Like, I mean, we're going to see a lot of like. I think there's going to be a bit of a supply shock soon with the wagons. So many
Ugh.
people are going to need wagons, and they're not ready.
Ugh.
Are you guys ready with your wagons?
Yeah, I bought
Uh,
like 100 back in the day when they were
Yeah.
vouchers because they're like, oh, you're gonna need
Right.
wagons for everything, bro. So I bought a buttload, and I only, I'm not going to be getting too many airdrops, so
Hmm.
um, I'm good with wagons. But I feel like I don't want to sell wagons. I feel like that's like, I don't know. I feel like that's like selling out. Like saying, yeah, I'm going to support this idea that I don't agree with if I sell wagons, even if I could make a few bucks.
Yeah.
I don't
well,
feel
Jimmy,
like
just
it's the right
sell
thing
them
to
for
do.
cheaper. That's not selling out.
It's selling them at all is the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, if I'm going to sell them, I want to
I,
make a few bucks for God's sake. God
Yeah.
damn it. God damn it. But I don't want to sell them. That's the thing. I don't want to like do that. It's like it feels dirty.
I would feel
Uh,
less dirty
And
about
it
it if
won't
it was
wash
like
off. It won't
cheaper.
wash off. The dirt won't wash off.
forever unclean.
Yeah.
I think with the things you've seen, Jimmy, you're forever unclean anyway.
Oh, I'm totally unclean.
Hippie, dirty hippie.
I'm not a hippie though. God damn it, fucking hippies.
And I'm actually really surprised that the wagon kits have been going steadily for like $6. They're not cheap.
Because they're
Six
needed.
bucks. I'm gonna start selling them.
Yeah.
It's
No, I'm kidding, of course.
$5.90 is the minimum right now.
There was a
Jesus.
bunch at like 580, but they got picked up today. I was looking at how much they're going for, and a bunch, like maybe 50, got taken off the market. Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like it's it's just the resource cost in general is actually pretty high on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I need to
Like
change my approach on the next round of conflicts and figure out a way to get a shit ton of DEC in game, and I can just mint my own wagon kits.
I'm still trying to find the sweet spot, man. I've been loading up plots with like more and
I
more
th-
PP, but it requires so much grain like as your PP goes up, your grain consumption goes up.
yeah.
So it's almost like yeah, it's almost like being at this neutral state where you're dumping money onto land and you're making more shit, but it costs so much to make that more stuff. It's like,
It's a fine line. I'm lucky. I'm in
yeah.
a very heavy grain region, so I got enough kind of grain and that, but no stone, no stone at all.
Mm.
So I'm just trading a lot of my extra grain into stone and hoping for the best.
Oh, frozen.
Frozen.
Well, I do think heavy grain will pay off long term, hopefully, because we're gonna, grain you need for everything, and we are burning through that billions of extra grain that
Slowly
has
but surely.
yeah,
I mean that's the only resource
surely.
that's operating at a deficit right now, isn't it?
Well, because we had like a year and a half of just grain,
Yeah.
grain and research and SPS, so
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
stockpiled the shit out of grain.
I wasn't. I was running pretty lean. I was farming lots of SPS back then. It was great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm still getting a decent amount now, but that's been after a lot of changes and like focusing on the occupied. I've actually just turned on a couple of research plots. There's a couple of on a couple of accounts. I'm going to slowly chase the top 6 spot. It's a couple year goal at this stage. But I figured I'm going to be here long term, and that extra bonus and rank will be nice, and hopefully it becomes more use cases for research in the future.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about turning off I have one heavy producing aura plot that I might just turn off for a little bit to get my research up to 1 million. Just hit that 1 million mark.
That's a big number. Nice.
And then turn it off again. I'm at like 950,000.
Oh, you're close.
Very close. Yeah. I
Yeah,
might do that for a little bit and see how that goes. Just to get that number. Say, all right, I'm sitting at
yeah.
a million. I'm chilling.
Yo,
I'm chilling.
speaking of a million, Keegs, not too long ago, you just hit the million SPS mark, didn't you?
Yeah. I've
Bam.
almost I think I'm up to the 1.1 now almost. Yeah, very happy with how quickly I
Whoa.
got there.
So you're a whale
Oh,
all of a
Yeah.
sudden.
I'm kind of hiding it because it's spread across a few accounts.
You're doing the arcane skinwalker down there. I see the top of your head. There, this.
Just gonna keep patting the dog to stop him from barking. That's what's going on down here.
Rub my belly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, let's wind it down here, guys. I know it's getting dinner time for old Twiggy, dinner time for you, Keegs.
It's dinner time for Jimmy too over here at 9:38 p.m.
Yeah.
PST.
Word. Well, Keegs, man, we definitely need to get you back on, dude. I want to see how all this stuff pans out. I'm looking forward to seeing you, get some of these like bigger picture DAO questions, kind of formulated and out there and published on Hive, and see what kind of discussion gets sparked out of those things. And let's get you back on before too long, and we can kind of do a debrief and recap and kind of refresh for moving forward and seeing where we need to start thinking.
Yeah,
I
there were a lot
I
of
love
well
that you're
thought
thinking
out
this way, man.
plans there. Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah,
well thought
well,
out
somebody's got to
plans.
do it. And like, hopefully, if we can just start, we'll get more people engaged and having the conversation, and the more people thinking and talking about a thing, I'm sure we'll come out with a better outcome.
Yeah, and
Agreed.
it's really well presented, really well organized. Everything's like bullet. I was looking at this thing like, oh man, I got to read like nine things. But then you start going through it, and it's like, oh, boom, bullet points, easy to read, easy to digest, just gets right to the point. No bullshit.
I definitely have to thank ChatGPT. It definitely did a bit of the heavy lifting for that. Just come back and kind of refine and format some things.
Well, there
It's
you
great.
go,
I can
man.
just talk at it and it does it for me. Love it.
It's like that South Park they just had where all the boys figured out they could use Chat GPT to answer texts from their girlfriends. Oh, the one girlfriend was like super jealous. She's like, "Oh my God, he's just so romantic," and is showing all her friends this, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, he just Chat GPT," and of course it blew
Oh, so good.
out of control into a situation, but yeah, definitely hysterical and
Oh boy.
accurate.
That's so funny. All right, gentlemen. Well, Keeks, again, man, yeah, absolute pleasure. Long time coming. Definitely worth the wait. Super topical stuff. I feel like that, we called it out a little bit last week. We've seen the DAO kind of, put on its big boy pants the last year or so and start to embrace some of these bigger picture questions. And you kind of thinking about all this stuff in the background is more relevant than it's ever been. And we've definitely got to start, putting pen to paper on trying to answer some of these things. So I appreciate what you're doing, man. You're starting to make your way out of the bush country down there and into the
Yeah.
conversation a little bit more. And it's been a welcome surprise having you, pop up across, a whole slew of different conversations. So good to see it,
He's got
man.
the beard and the accent to back it all up, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bam.
Oh, and again, I always have to shout you out as well because you're actually doing it with like your survival brackets. Like start the discussion early before it gets to the proposal phase.
Yeah, that should be going live, by the way, for anybody who's kind of been tracking that stuff and been wondering where it is. The proposal should be put out here in the next couple of days, and um, it should be live still in the pre-proposal phase by the time we have the next town hall. So should be a good conversation point for the team to address if there's any outstanding questions for guys like Yaba or Dave or whomever. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Perfect.
Little Jimmy.
Twiggy's starving, man. Twiggy needs some food.
It's like, give me
Yeah,
food. Get in my belly.
Yeah.
Get in my belly.
All right.
Nice.
Well,
Cool.
yeah, thanks again, Keeegs. Hey, for all the listeners, as soon as Keeegs stands up and Twiggy is free, he's chirping.
He's yapping.
That boy's got a lot to talk about.
Sure does.
All right. Well, appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. We'll catch you next week. Guest is TBD, but we will certainly be back per usual. We're creeping up on episode 150, which is a big landmark in TPG. But Jimmy, any final words? We got a cameo appearance from somebody to take us out, man.
Word.
All right, everybody. We'll catch you next week. We appreciate you all tuning in. You have been listening to
The People's Guild, baby. Yeah.
Welcome to the People's Guild.
Splinterlands. Praetoria.
For guests all across the mythical land of Praetoria, tune in.
Come in.
Welcome to the People's Guild. Another week, another guest.
Praetoria. Praetoria. Tune in. Come in.
Welcome to the People's Guild. Another week, another guest.